are listening to
One.
The Astrocast.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Rue. Just sitting here thinking about this trip in a couple of weeks. I'm like less than 2 weeks away now from Utah. So just wanted to kind of get some thoughts out that I was having about this trip. So forgive me if this isn't as professional as some of the other episodes, but I thought it might be fun to just sit down and say some stuff out loud. So I've got 2 rigs set up beside me. I've got my remote rig, which is the Askar SQA55. It's got the mini PC, the SV Bony SV241 Pro power switch, Uniguide mini. That's the guide scope. I've got a Deep Sky Dad FP2, I believe the model is, flat panel, flip-flap. Got the ZWO CAA rotator and a 5-bay filter wheel. Beside that, I've got the Star Adventure GTI out, which I'm super happy to have out. I actually had it temporarily packed away because I was using my AM3 all winter, and frankly, I didn't have a need for 2 rigs because my neighborhood situation's gotten so bad it's almost like pointless to do astronomy here, as much as I hate to say that. I'm sure I'll continue doing it, but it's hard to like set up 2 or 3 rigs, you know, when you've got just terrible lights coming from all around you. My neighborhood used to have like yellow sulfur bulbs, the old school kind, and then just literally a couple days ago they I guess quote fixed them with LEDs, and then our new neighbors, they keep their lights on all the time pretty much. So yeah, it is what it is. But anyway, I got the Star Adventure GTI out, and I got to do something kind of fun last week. I got to rebuild my 135 rig. So I found out, like, after doing this hobby for a few years, you eventually have enough parts to where you can take apart one rig and rebuild it into another. And I was thinking about that as I was putting this together, and I had all kinds of crazy ideas that I was coming up with, which I'm sure happens to everyone else as well. But one of the main problems that I kept running into was I wanted to use a couple of my like Canon EF lenses. Like I've got a EF 85, like the really popular gold ringed Canon EF 85 lens. And if you put that on a full frame camera like the R5, which obviously you have to use the adapter for because that's the RF mount, not the EF, it frames up with RAW and the blue horse head just beautifully well at 85 millimeters. And my move would be able to handle that no problem. So I'm probably going to shoot with the R5 and the 85 millimeter, some, ultra wide field stuff of the core of the Milky Way. And indeed, I'm planning on shooting RAW and the horsehead. But I was thinking, man, it'd be so cool if I could get one of my cooled cameras running with this, since it's a, manual focus lens. And when I say manual, I mean, it's not focused by a wire. So in other words, you can focus it without having to have the camera contacts touching a, Canon camera. And because of that, it makes it compatible with, ZWO cameras and what have you. And actually, I already have a T adapter for Canon cameras, so it'd be very easy for me to pop it on and get it working. But the thing that I can't get to work in that situation is a mounting ring. So I need mounting rings, something that can basically hold the 85 in place and allow me to attach a dovetail underneath. The whole rig would be pretty darn small unless I put the 2600 on the back of it. That would just be ridiculous, but you could do it. That would be really cool. But I guess that kind of makes me think I need to learn design in AutoCAD a lot better. I've used a little bit of software and I was tinkering around with it a few weeks back, and I was able to like get some of the basics down. Like I was figuring out how to do shapes to specific sizes that I needed, based on measurements that I came up with and that sort of thing. I was also talking with John in our Discord, and he designs things in 3D CAD software to be printed, and he might could help me with that. So maybe I'll hit him up and ask him if he can print me a like a mounting ring for this lens if I give him the exact measurements, because man, that would be cool with a cooled camera. But I'm still gonna try it. Like I say, I think it'll do great nonetheless. I'm weird, man. I like using lenses, and I love ultra wide stuff, as you guys know. So like I'm sitting here thinking like, what lenses do I want to bring with me now? Because I'm going to bring the 135. Parrish is bringing his 135 rig as well. So we're both going to have our 135 rigs. And I think we're both going for RAW with that, because neither of us has like a, truly beautiful image of RAW yet. I've got a couple that I like a lot, but most of those are like much wider with the whole, Sagittarius core in the region. The couple of more close-up shots that I have of RAW, like at 135 millimeters with a micro 4/3 camera, like a 294, they are not as good, frankly. I did them the first couple of dark sky trips that I took, and I'm not going to say I didn't know what I was doing, but I definitely have learned a lot more since I made those trips. So you learn more as you go, just like any other hobby. It's funny, we were talking about this being a hobby earlier today. Shout out to Chris, by the way, from Astro Guys. He actually changed his membership from a founder to captain's club. So thank you for doing that, Chris. Greatly appreciate that, man. It did not go unnoticed, and I actually sat there thinking about it, and I'm like, do I record it? Because every time someone joins the Patreon, I always record a quick little thank you video for them, just because, it's something I've done since day one and I'll continue to do as long as I can. But I was like, I don't know if I record a video if somebody upgrades, because I haven't had that happen too many times. But I'll do something nice for you, Chris. Maybe like a shout out on the podcast or something if I have time for it. I'm just messing with you, man. I was actually I was talking with Justin about the C8 the other day, and we were talking about guide cameras, and I was saying that I probably need to spend a little bit more money, and he was kind of like, what do you got? And it's funny, I told myself that I wouldn't be able to do it with what I have, which is the ZWO standard size off-axis guider, which has like a 8mm by 8mm prism on it, which is a pretty small prism compared to some of the others. But I thought the real trouble would be with my ASI 120mm mini guide camera, because I don't know where I read it, but I read that you kind of have to have the bigger guide camera, I can never remember it, 492, I want to say. It's the one that's like $500 basically. But that's not the case. And in fact, I started reading up on this, and I found lots of people using regular, like not large variant OAGs with the 120 on a reduced C8 that were able to do it no problem. So I'm definitely going to bust the C8 back out when I get back from the Utah trip, because I will not have that scope sitting on my pier anymore 24/7. And the AM3 is going to be freed up from running that scope, because I initially thought I was going to put the AM3 at the observatory, but after I talked to Nathan about it, he said, hold on to your AM3. That's like your fun mount. He knows I have my CEM 26, and I was like, well, would you use that? And he was like, definitely. He said most people that set up at a remote observatory, he said send their worst mount. I wouldn't say worst mount. I mean, it's definitely not my best mount. It's not a bad mount. It's a great mount and it tracks very well. But it's not the most user friendly, I guess you would say. And I think that's something a lot of us have realized about some of Ioptron's products. I know Mark has had a heck of a time with his HEM 27 model, and he's got the one with the encoders and everything, and he just has not had a good time with it. So anyway, I'm going to put the CEM 26 down there. I'm going to hold on to the AM3, and I'm going to mount up the C8 with a reducer. I'm going to put that mini back in, and I'm going to start messing around with it again. I'm going to not overcomplicate it. I'm just going to throw the ASI air on there. I might even like see if I can get focused just with the visual back first, make sure everything's working, and then start adding on pieces as I go. Yeah, this trip is going to be something else, man. So I kind of briefly mentioned it in last week's episode, but we're going to be doing like a lot of driving in a few days' time. So just to give you like an idea, I'm going to be leaving from Charlotte, North Carolina, and I'm going to drive all the way to St. Louis. I'm driving to St. Louis the first night, and then I'm going to meet up with Parrish in Kansas City the next morning. So I'm hoping, you can do it. You can get from Charlotte to St. Louis in about 10 or 11 hours if you don't stop. I'm going to leave, really early, probably 5 a.m., maybe even 4 a.m., because I want to get there by 7 or 8 at night. I don't need to stop much when I'm by myself, but I'm sure I'll need to stop occasionally, go to the bathroom, stretch my legs, that sort of thing. But I'm going to pack a lunch so I don't have to, worry about stopping for food and that sort of thing. I don't know where I'm going to sleep that first night. If I find the right situation, I might just sleep in the rest area for a few hours and then hit back on the road, because we're going to basically meet up, drop off one of the cars, and then continue on our way. And then day 2 will pretty much be, getting through Kansas. And I'm hoping we can get to where we're like right at the bottom of the Rocky Mountains before we head into day 3, because I love Colorado. I got to go once when I was a kid. I have a family who lives there. Actually, I got an uncle and a couple of cousins that live there. And I know it's just like a incredibly beautiful place. So I would love nothing more than to like see the sunrise as we're driving into the Rocky Mountains. One of my coworkers, Charlotte, was telling me about the, I think she said it was the Great Sand Dune Hills or something along those lines. It's a basically like a huge sand dunes area in the southern part of Colorado. And I believe we can actually take that route. I don't know, maybe on the way back if we've got time, because I think on the way there, we're just going to haul our butts as quickly as we possibly can. I'm hoping Parrish will be down to just like take turns driving while the other person sleeps for a little while, because, the sooner we get there, the more dark skies we have. That's the way that I see it. And where we're going is very, very dark indeed. So the first night, obviously, we're going to be meeting up with Nathan, dropping off my scope, and Parrish's for that matter. Just to give you guys an idea, it's Astro Peak Observatory. I've mentioned it on the show a few times before, and Nathan is hoping to be like fully open by the end of June, essentially. Maybe a little bit sooner, but things are looking up from last time I talked to him. So the place should be operating before too much longer. I believe they're already taking reservations on the second building too. They were at NEAF. So if anyone's interested in that and you want to be a member of the Discord, you get a discount code if you join at patreon.com/the Astrocast. I'll provide that discount code to you in the Discord, and it'll essentially pay for your Astrocast family dues every month for your $5 a month. So it's a good way to save a couple of bucks, make a lot of new friends joining a really cool astronomy club online. And yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it. So while all of this is happening and I'm like 5,000 foot elevation with a really good friend of mine and shooting the Milky Way in conditions that I've never seen before, halfway around the globe, Mark, another friend that I've met through the show, is going to be meeting up with several of our Discord members in Europe. So I think Ben and Tim are going to be there. I don't know everybody's going to be there. We have a separate chat room open in the Discord right now called Eurocast. And they're going to be meeting up. So what's so cool about it is because it's like an 8-hour time difference, when it's sundown where we are, it's going to be nearly sunrise where they are. So I'm hoping we can do like a little maybe FaceTime or something and record it, like a little audio interview, if you will, and record it and have it for the show. Because obviously I'm gonna bring my mics with me. It's funny too because it didn't even occur to me until this happened. Brief tangent. Mark asked me if he wanted me to record any content for the show while he was in Europe, because it's like an Astrocast event in a way. I mean, really, it's Mark and friends getting together, but you could say that they wouldn't know each other if it weren't for the show. So I was like, yeah, man, that would be awesome. I'd love to, hear about your experience in France. And I'm sure everybody else would love to hear about it too. That sounds amazing. So he was like, well, how am I going to record it? And, me being the audio nerd, I was like, I got you, man. I got some mics that you can borrow. And I found out later on, after we'd already had that conversation, that we were going to be gone the exact same week, new moon in June. So luckily it worked out the way that it did, because those same mics that I was going to let Mark borrow are the ones that I'm going to be using when I'm on my Dark Skies trip. Go figure. But don't worry, because he didn't end up with no mic. I actually went to go mail these microphones. And just so you know, this is like the DJI Mic 1, like the original wireless lavalier mics that DJI came out with a few years back. Now they've got the microphone 2 and the microphone mini, and you can get them in all kinds of different packages. But this was the first set they came out with. And I've had it for a few years, and it's been really good. And I love the quality of them for on-the-go microphones. If you listen to the Neef episode, then you definitely heard them while I was interviewing people. I've used them several times on the show. But anyway, I was going to let him borrow those. So I went up to the post office, and have you ever had them ask you if you have any batteries in your devices or in your mail before you mail it? Well, I did. And I was like, I definitely don't want to lose my mics. So I was honest. I said, yeah, I do. I've got these microphones that I'm saying. Well, how many microphones? And I was just like, 2. Well, how many batteries are in them? And it is like, when you put it that way, it's a little bit silly, because when you open this case, you're like, geez, that's a lot of batteries. So it comes in a charging case. Like, both of the mics come in a charging case, and they also have a receiver that, picks up the audio signal from the 2 wireless mics. So technically there's 4 batteries. Long story short, it was going to cost more to ship these mics via ground, because they wouldn't ship them in the air, so it had to be ground service, than it would be to just buy Mark a new microphone and just send it to him. So that's what I did. I bought him a DJI Mic Mini. I found out after the fact that they don't have internal storage, which really sucks, because honestly, I wouldn't have bought it had I not known that, because that's why I love these mics, because if you don't have your phone, you just press the record button and clip them on and you're good. But Mark figured it out. He got it hooked up via Bluetooth, and I know they sound good because I actually do own a DJI Mic Mini and I've used it many times. But it just never occurred to me that it didn't have internal storage. Anyway, he's bringing that one with him for the trip to Europe, so he should be able to get some good quality content as well. Now, the real question is, I'll do the 85 with the R5. What other lenses should I try though? Because like I've got some pretty cool stuff. I've got 2 TT Artisan fisheye lenses. I've talked about them a long time ago on the show. These are lenses that I didn't even pay $100 for each of them. In fact, one I think I paid like $70 for. They're dirt cheap, but they're actually really nice lenses. They're all metal construction. They work really good for astrophotography. I mean, in my opinion, I think they're great. They're fast aperture. They are manual only lenses. I think they're 2.8s if I'm not mistaken. One is a 11 millimeter and one's a 6 millimeter. The 6 millimeter will literally show you horizon to horizon. So like you can get everything around you in one frame from, you know, like north to south and everything in between. You will see it all. That's really cool to put up, like when the Milky Way is directly overhead. That is a really trippy shot to get. The 11 is almost as ridiculous. It takes up like a giant portion of the sky. You can definitely get all of the Milky Way that's visible in it. I've got my new 35 millimeter lens. I've never shot the Milky Way at 35. I've done a 24 to 70 lens. I had my 24 to 70L that I had for about a year before I sold it, so I could get my my dream wildlife lens, which is the RFL 100 to 500. Oh God, I love that lens. I have yet to do astro with it though, you know, and I think the reason why is just because with RF lenses, if you don't know this, you can't really use them with astronomy cameras because they're all focused by wire, which means that you have to have those electrical contacts that are on the bayonet of the lens, the mount. Otherwise, you just can't. I've heard like some people say like if you disconnect the lens while it's manually focused with the aperture at its widest setting, it'll stay that way, but I'm not going to do that to my lenses. I pay too much for them and that's not what they're there for anyway, but I'm still going to give it a try sometime. I'll throw it on the AM3, the 100 or 500 and see how it does. So yeah, definitely the 85. I'm definitely doing that. Obviously I'm doing the 135. That's going to be like my actual rig that I have while I'm out there. I'll probably bring my Rokinon 14 millimeter lens. Actually, I did get the RF version of that lens. I had the EF version, but it was a terrible copy. Like the stars were just horrible in the corners. I mean, I know it's not like a, super ED refractor or anything, it's a reasonably priced camera lens, but the RF version is indeed a lot nicer. So I'm glad that I got that. So I'll use that. Let me say, I said the 2 wide fields, the 35, the 85. God, but you see, I'm getting to like 5 lenses. I'm like, am I really going to use all of those? Like, am I going to want to be switching out lenses, or should I just bring a couple of lenses and try to get really, really good shots with them? Also keeping in mind that I'll probably want to do some terrestrial photography during daylight hours because we're going to be in Canyonlands National Park, which if you've never seen it, it's freaking incredible. I mean, it's just beautiful out there. It's all the red rocks, that you see, and you know what it looks like? It looks like Dragon Ball Z. If you've ever seen Dragon Ball where they're fighting and they have those mountainous columns of stone, that is exactly what it looks like. It's really, really cool. So I'm super excited to see it. It'll probably take us, 3 days to get there. We hope to get there on night number 3. Gonna stay 3 nights and then 3 nights to get back home. So it's gonna be like a mad dash, but I think we're doing it with the perfect group of people. I'm like super excited to see Nathan and Craig, he's going to be there. I heard, maybe some other folks, Parrish. I can't wait to hang out with him again. That's going to be super duper fun. And I'm finally going to have access to Portal 1 skies year round, man. It's so awesome. And like, I'm just giddy at the thought of it. I wonder if this is going to like change me as an astrophotographer, if I'm going to become like one of those 100-hour snobs. I say snobs, but I'm just hating because my work's not as good as theirs. I'm just kidding. Justin, speaking of 100-hour snobs, Justin's going to be in New Mexico at the time. He's actually going to be at his dark sky location, which is like crazy far in the middle of nowhere. He was telling us about it, and I was just like, that's insane, dude. I envy you so much. I told him, I said, man, the day that my wife agrees, we are out of here. And I don't know, man, maybe I'll fall in love with Utah when I'm there, and I'll be like, you gotta come see Utah, baby. Let's go look. And I don't think I could live there because I couldn't be that far from the beach. I love the beach too much. I couldn't imagine being like, that far away from the ocean. And I don't even go to the ocean that often, but I guess it's just the fact that I know that it's only 3 hours away just somehow eases my mind a little bit. You know what I mean? So, oh man, I'm looking at all this freaking gear here, starting to get really excited. I'm trying to think of all the things I need to do to prepare with just a couple of weeks left now. I mean, like the automation, I'll say I don't think I have it perfect yet, but I do have the connections perfect to where the rest of the stuff I can dial in. It's all just on the software side. I think the hardware is probably about as good as it's going to get. I do need to ask Nathan about power ports, though. You know what? He probably included it in the literature. I can't remember if he said that we will have a power port that we can turn on and off remotely. I'll ask him about that. I'll let you guys know on the show if you're thinking about sending a scope. I think I'll probably, honestly, like, if this goes how I'm envisioning and I end up with all this data, I could definitely see myself setting a second scope up out there, like buying a second pier and getting one of the larger ones and putting something silly out there. Like I would love to do that. But I don't know. We'll see. I suppose we will see. This is a whole new venture for me. Luckily, we're getting started near the beginning of Milky Way season, which is really the best time to do it because we'll have all the way till October, and then Orion will come out, and that'll be its own amazing reward. I'll be able to get the Spaghetti Nebula finally. Oh, that's going to be fun. That is going to be fun. So lots to look forward to for sure. A whole lot of driving, but it's going to be worth it because it's going to be New Moon. It's going to be Portal 1. It's going to be 5,000 to 7,000 feet, depending on where we are. We found a hotel that is like literally in the middle of nowhere, which is really, really cool. I don't know if that's a dark sky protected area, but it's definitely a dark sky area because there ain't nothing out there. You look on a map and you're just like, geez, there's nothing here. So that's going to be fun for sure. So anyway, guys, I just wanted to catch up with you for a few minutes, let you know what was going on in my world. We got something cool coming next week, so stay tuned for that. And I'll catch you back on the flip side on Tuesday or Wednesday. Clear skies.